This morning, I'd like to give a very important teaching that is central to anyone on the Buddhist path to freedom. And it's about what is known in Pali as the Vedenas. So every person experiences each moment of their lives as either pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. This is everyone. A practitioner who's well established in the Dharma experiences pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. And a non-practitioner with no Dharma experience whatsoever also experiences pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. So what's the difference between someone who's well practiced and someone who isn't? The difference is awareness. The person who can bring awareness to the pleasant, awareness to the unpleasant, or neutrality of the moment can free themselves. If we're not aware, immediately after a pleasant experience arises, clinging or craving arise. When we're not aware, immediately after an unpleasant experience arises, aversion arises. And this craving or clinging and aversion are what give rise to suffering. So before I go any further, I want to acknowledge that I don't know anyone with the clarity to do this all the time, to have awareness all the time. So it's not just a person who's experienced in the Dharma, but a person who is in a clear frame of mind, because we're all practitioners and we're not always in clear states. And it can also be true that a person who doesn't practice meditation at all can have very clear moments. So when we're not clear and pleasant moments arise, we grab onto them, we want. And this wanting mind is deeply conditioned, quite normal. It's juicy. We want more of the pleasant. So we see a piece of chocolate cake. It's moist, and the smell makes our mouth water. We take a bite, and this amazing chocolate flavor explodes into our taste buds. Wow, delicious. Yum, yum, yum. Yum to the person who's trained in meditation, and yum to the untrained person. Pleasant experience. Wonderful. We enjoy it. Without awareness, we quickly move from tasting and enjoying the cake to figuring out how we can get more. After the first instant of pleasure, the person without training is planning, without clarity, planning how to get seconds. They want seconds after their first, or while they're eating their first bite. So they actually cut off the pleasure, stop tasting the cake entirely, and move instead to thoughts about more. And this reconditions the craving mind, the wanting mind, and keeps us in samsara, on this hamster wheel. So I'll read you something from Robert Hall. It's called The Wanting Creature. The wanting creature is loose. All the time he leers and lurks behind good thoughts and desperate bursts of hope. He corrals the unsuspecting, surprising everyone with his smart promises and chic ideas. The wanting creature, born within, living only to get out and wreak violent greed. He's friend to nobody. He only wants what feels good for now. And he tells you that's all there is. Don't believe him. He'll trick you every time. And then you'll have to start over again. We know this wanting creature in us. It's not wrong. It's not bad. Desire goes along with life, and we wouldn't exist without it. No species would. And yet, uncontrolled impulses of desire and aversion are the source of suffering. So clarity means we enjoy the chocolate cake thoroughly with awareness, appreciating it, wonder, it's wonderful. But when it's done, it's done. We let go. We aren't entrapped by grasping for more. So freedom means we don't bite the hook of the pleasant. We relish it. And it's gone, period. We have to be present for desire, bow to desire, know it fully, and bring awareness to it. When a person who is unclear has an unpleasant feeling arise, it's said in the suttas, they worry, grieve, weep, and are distraught. So there's an unpleasant feeling, and it's just yuck. It's yuck for both trained people who are clear and anyone not trained. But when there's clear awareness, there's something difficult. It's still painful, but there's no unpleasant reaction to it or story about it. The story might be something like, I'm going to have this pain forever, or this pain means something terrible, instead of just feeling the ouch of the pain. So I'll give you an example. It's tax season now. It's tax season for those of us who are fortunate enough to have earned money to have to pay taxes. And we're doing our taxes. And taxes for many people can be a very unpleasant experience. I have to use taxes as an example because I have a tax joke. This is called a taxing situation. According to unofficial sources, a new simplified income tax form contains only 4 lines. What was your income for the year? What were your expenses for the year? How much do you have left? Send it all in. So we're struck by some suffering, any suffering, pain. Pain is inevitable. We just discover how we add to it and drop what we've added. We feel the ouch, we feel the hurt. Take care of yourself and be kind. But we're aware of the aversion when it arises. We drop the story about how bad it's going to be in the future or what it means. So a lot of you have heard the saying by Lao Tzu, the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. Well, this saying, which is quite famous, was recently retranslated by the original translator to say, the great way is not difficult for those who are not attached to their preferences. And I love this translation. I was so happy to hear it. It's so much better because I have preferences. And I don't know anyone without preferences. And this version is certainly a lot more workable. Those who are not attached to their preferences. So Carl Jung said, neurosis is our defense against real suffering, of not feeling the truth and the ouch of the unpleasant, but trying to run away from it, not being able to tolerate loss or the feeling of uncertainty or the impermanence of life. So there's a part of our mind that's always working in the background, that knows what's happening. It knows pleasant and unpleasant and neutral. We can rest in awareness of each of these. Oh, pleasant. Oh, unpleasant. Instead of getting lost in the story about what's happening, we just feel this part and live it. And this part that recognizes is very important. It's the place that's bigger than our story. So, yes, you will find yourself stuck. We all do. We all lose it. And grasping and clinging or wanting more happens, and aversion to the unpleasant happens. We hook many times a day because we're deeply conditioned. But whenever we can, we stop. We can even stop in our reaction, in our clinging or our aversion, and bring awareness here. So don't wait for the day that reaction doesn't arise. Wait for the day that you don't believe it. Uttejanita, a wonderful teacher, said the object of attention is not important. The attention is what's important. So we have to move from the contents of mind to the space in which the contents arise in order to realize our true nature. This is the key to freedom. The 12-step program talks about 4 faults which prevent us from realizing the nature of mind in any moment. And the first is the nature of mind is too close to be recognized. Just as we are unable to see our own face, the mind finds it difficult to look into its own nature. It's too profound for us to fathom. We have no idea how deep it could be. If we did, we would have already realized it. 3, it's too easy for us to just believe. In reality, all we need to do is simply rest in the naked, pure awareness, the nature of mind, which is always present. And 4, it's too wonderful for us to accommodate. The sheer immensity is too vast to fit into our narrow way of thinking. We just can't believe it. So awareness or space holds the changing moment to moment experience. The space doesn't change. The space doesn't have a preference for what it holds. It's like the sky. The sky holds balls we throw up into it, clouds, airplanes, mountains, skyscrapers, stars. It's just space. And awareness holds what is pleasant and unpleasant, and it's unaffected and unharmed. It has no preference. It allows room for everything because the nature of mind is pure. And we don't look at the space, we're open to it. Just like we don't listen to the silence, we're just open to receive it. The invitation is to notice the space. The space is freedom. and it's always here. It contains everything. It's not bound by anything. When one has a spacious mind, there's room for everything. What would it be like for you to have a mind like space that can allow everything to come and to go? Thank you for your practice today. May we bring benefit to all beings. Thank you, everyone. Feel free to unmute yourself. Have a blessed day full of spacious awareness.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sangha.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
You're right. That was an important teaching.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank
Good
you,
work.
Terry.
Yeah.
My mind is bigger. I can feel it. It's bigger.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Terry. Great teaching.
So
Have a
good.
great week.